my name's Jerry Moffat. I was one of the sort of pioneers of climbing from the 80s and 90s. Was kind of known for being the best climber in the world. Gritstone's special because it's such a permanent, strong rock, I think. It's a little bit like granite. With the friction of the rock, you can do moves which you just couldn't do on other types of rock. Those moves would be possible when it's cold in the winter. The same move would be impossible in the summer. It's really hard to climb on Gritstone in the summer because it's just so friction based. So as it starts to get colder in September, October, you know, your body, everything just says it's Gritstone now. You ditch the limestone, Gritstone's in.
So my name's Rob Napier. I've been a route setter, I've been a climber for 25 years now. Started climbing when I was 13 or 14. Immediately I was quite connected with climbing on Gritstone. Gritstone climbing, you know, the rock is very blank sometimes and offers very little. So to find a way through a series of holds or features can be a real problem solving exercise. That combined with the texture of the rock and the very little features that it offers sometimes can make it very special, because the moves and the way it climbs, it's technical. It is the essence of like technicality in climbing, really. It's like using friction and the rock and what's available to do a boulder or to do a route.
And when we first opened the foundry, everything was for training to climb outside. And then it's turned around now. We have these big volumes, totally different types of moves which you'd never get outside. But I think it's important to have a hold like this Gritstone range so that it feels like you're climbing outside.
Gritstone can be anything. Like there's every type of texture on Gritstone rock, from like really textured, like striated lines, to really small pockets, to just utterly blank sections of rock, which is like, you know, might have a 2 metre square area, which all it's got in the middle of it is like a small pebble. And that's like a crucial part of climbing on that bit of rock.
So within this range, we've made some smaller holes for slabs with pebbles in them. So we've got proper pebbles put into the holes. Obviously you can turn those around so you've got a good foothold or a bad foothold. So it'll really replicate the need for your foot to stick on a pebble. And when you're climbing, sometimes you really just only have to focus, make that foothold stick. Then we've got some really nice London wall type pockets. Not a limestone pocket, but they really are unique to sort of a quarried grit, where you're just placing your fingers in pockets and doing rock overs and getting other things. And then we've got these sort of bigger plates where they're just smooth and flat. They'll go on the wall with a little pebble and a thin seam where you'll be crimping the seam, maybe with your thumb spragging on a pebble just to try and get a bit more advantage. And then we're going to have some sort of bigger slopers on the macros and stuff, where obviously turning around it, you know, they're going to work in different ways. So we've done quite a few different things trying to get the feeling of really what it's like to climb on Gritstone. So the route setters should be able to be really creative and make something really special with these holds. And there's not many rocks where friction, it's just complete friction. So on limestone, it's crimping, pulling, it's a lot of this stuff. With Gritstone, it's more moving around, and it just puts your body into amazing positions, and you're thinking, wow, that's an amazing move, because I'm all over the place on it.
So hopefully it's going to encourage route setters to kind of pick the holds up and, you know, create boulder problems that are a little bit different. It's moving away obviously from the kind of fast jumping about that you see in competitions now. But then I think there's a big market for people who want to climb kind of a slower, more technical boulder problem. So having holds where you can create really technical movement that's not too fast, where you have to be super precise how you put your hands on the holds and where you get the holds, you know, to feel the holds and really get involved with the holds was quite a factor.
So a lot of these holds would be really accessible. You can make great problems for beginners, and some of the most popular boulders on Gritstone are the ones below Burbage South on those boulders, where they're not that difficult, but you're still using pebbles, you're still using pockets, slopers, little crimps, really fun types of climbing. Obviously, you could make them a little bit steeper, the hole becomes exactly the same, but it becomes really desperate. This is aimed at sort of all aspects and all grades of climbing. One of the things that people always ask about when I travel is, what's Gritstone like? Wherever you are in the world, if people have heard anything about English climbing, they want to know about Gritstone. And it's really nice now that there's some holds that we can ship anywhere over the world, and people can actually see what it's like to climb on Gritstone. They'll get a real feeling and flavour, because you only get Gritstone up here in the north of England, Staffordshire, Yorkshire and stuff. You don't get it anywhere else in the world.